I tend to be drawn to the outcasted, the underrated, the distinguishedly flawed titles. In this world where we chase perfections, at times too much is lost during that pursuit. My mind wanders to a title such as Ghost of Tsushima, a sensational game well regarded by many players in this day and age. The problem is that while Ghost of Tsushima is an absolutely great title, it unfortunately fails in one pivotal area: innovation and uniqueness. If you've played an Assassin's Creed in the past decade, you will know exactly how Ghost of Tsushima plays. They definitely find areas where they try to be unique in the way in which you find areas of interest, such as using foxes and wind, but the thing is, the uniqueness is absolutely gone. Ghost of Tsushima is the absolute amalgamation and the absolutely perfected open world medieval game. It has perfected that formula to the highest level, and that is the reason I personally didn't have too much of a strong connection to that game. In fact, I end up having a stronger connection to other games that are inherently flawed. The titles that pursue uniqueness will always be the games that evoke true feeling from me. I think of games such as Kingdom Come Deliverance, Dragon Age Inquisition, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Dragon's Dogma 1, or even Detroit Become Human. Games that truly push the medium to brand new heights. I absolutely love narrative-driven games. A strong narrative so I can fall deep into the trenches of escapism. When a game helps you escape the problems and frailties that plague your own life, it's doing something right. Its strong presentation competes with the best productions Hollywood can offer. Especially surprising is, unfortunately, Remedy Entertainment is a studio that has failed to grasp me yet with the titles I've played thus far. Alan Wake 1 and Control failed to grab me. I will give Control a second try, as I did actually enjoy aspects of Quantum Break. Quantum Break, though being definitely flawed, was able to take my attention away from a number of games that most players would consider superior. At the time, I was actually playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I hopped on over to Quantum Break as it gave me interests and aspects that were quite unique. When looking for a way to aptly describe Quantum Break and what they were trying to do, unfortunately my mind tends to turn to the saying of grasping at straws. I'll definitely continue to praise this game for trying to do something unique, trying to blend the excitement of an action TV series and a video game all in one sleek package. This is surely a decision influenced by what Xbox One was trying to achieve in the first place. A singular device aiming to be a one-stop shop for all things entertainment for its consumers. Unfortunately though, despite their very valiant attempts, Quantum Break is a failed experiment. Despite the game being very intriguing and amusing at times, in its totality it's unable to stick the landing. More accurately, the plane ran out of fuel before it could even arrive at the airport.
Of course.
A simple way to describe this game is that Quantum Break is a flurry of highs and very deep lows. The narrative of Quantum Break focuses on time travel. A freak accident gives you powers that you will use through the duration of the game. My first impression of the combat was not good. I eventually got used to it, but it is, in my opinion, this game's weakest element. Exploring and everything else and using the powers is quite well polished, but then you get to this disappointing combat system. The inability to crouch and sprint at will is also thoroughly annoying. It makes the game feel more impersonal as you feel you have less control over your character. The movement abilities do not make up for this. You definitely have a vast array of time powers from a shield, which actually doesn't make sense as a temporal power. It could make sense if it made a shield by slowing down the bullets. That would make sense, but completely deflecting them is quite weird. Anyway, that's a small gripe. There is enemy variety in Quantum Break, from heavies, normal dudes with rifles, and then the flash dudes who are annoying as hell, who zip and zap everywhere all over the map trying to hit you from behind. I would say Quantum Break would thoroughly benefit from two simple quality of life improvements. Firstly, by significantly reducing the time to kill your enemies. It takes way too long for enemies to go down, and I'm not just talking about the heavies, but because the normal guys go down so difficultly, the heavies take a huge amount of bullets before they end up going down. The second quality of life thing that would heavily improve this game is implementing a stealth mechanic. Having stealth gameplay would be so fitting in this game considering its tone and the way that the story works. Jack may be proficient with guns, but it's not to the point where he can absolutely go guns blazing in every single encounter, even if he has superpowers. The tone is great. This game just screams 2010s movie, and you can see when it was beginning to be developed, it was during that time period when time movies were absolutely hot. Despite that, the game takes itself seriously, unfortunately without avail. The narrative is not strong enough for me to take the story so seriously. This game is far more cliche than they would think. The story direction is also lacking. The overall plot is understandable, but there is too much filler at too many moments. The villain's motivations are also hard to get by or to even see as believable. Now, the television show, which is a new and important mechanic which they brought into the game to try and bring some variety to the game, is actually quite interesting and cool in the very beginning when you first see it and watch the first episode. But eventually it becomes tedious and uninteresting, as nothing that happens on the show is even close to being interesting to what happens in the in-game rendering system. It feels more so like a Monarch TV show that follows the side characters that literally play no part in shifting the main story. By the time I reached the last episode, I felt like skipping the entire show on multiple occasions. So, as I've mentioned, the gameplay is lacking, which for many of you guys will make or break this title. But if you can appreciate the other things that this game brings to the table, you can find a newfound appreciation for this game, such as its very strong presentation style, the way the story is good at times, and of course the visual presentation, which is absolutely unforgettable. The set pieces are so cool. Now, the sound design on default is a bit odd. The quality of the sound isn't necessarily the issue, but the sound effects, particularly the gunfire, is far too loud, and this ends up detracting other things, pretty much drowning out everything else, especially the music, which I have absolutely no recollection of after completing the game. There aren't any notable soundtracks or even the main menu soundtrack that I will completely remember and listen to long after I've completed the game. Listening to this review will probably be the only time you can actually coherently listen and enjoy the soundtrack. A minimalistic user interface style is used for this game, as there is no health bar, and of course because you cannot sprint, there is no stamina bar. The upgrades unfortunately feel inconsequential, other than the time rush ability, which allows you to flash to different locations very quickly. The rest of the abilities are just okay. Now, the visuals in this game are very good, particularly placing focus on the environments and the city of Riverport. It's very cool, and it's a cool city. When you look at the vistas and look at the scenery around, it is quite nice. I have a bit of an issue in terms of the textures and the models in the game. There's this weird blurry effect that is very apparent. You'll be able to see it in the footage I have here, but if you play it for yourself, you'll be able to understand what I mean. There's a lack of sharpness in the character designs and a number of the textures in the game, which is quite jarring. Quantum Break possibly has one of the worst boss fights I've ever played in a video game. What a disappointing final boss. And at that point I was sick and tired of the combat, and that final encounter just pushed me to the limits. It didn't push me to use all the skills that I'd learned in the game. It was just some one-shot hogwash that would just make me die for absolutely no reason, without explanation. The game also has frustratingly bad checkpoint systems, forcing you to replay long combat encounters because of dying for some dumb reason. Now let's wrap all of this up. How is Quantum Break in terms of a value proposition for you as a patient gamer? Is it a good value proposition for you, and is it worth your money? Let's get into it. If we go on over to how long to beat, it says you'll get about 10 hours of main story content, 13 if you do a little more including some of the side stuff, and 18 hours if you're a completionist. A nice short campaign that unfortunately runs out of gas towards the end of the journey. How much will this game hurt your pockets? Not too badly at all, in fact. Quantum Break is in fact an Xbox exclusive, and it's only available on the PC and on Xbox, and it's also available on Game Pass. So I would definitely advise you take that route. At the time when I was trying to play it, I experienced some issues of trying to sign up using Xbox Live, and Game Pass wouldn't exactly allow me. So if you also experience similar issues, perhaps it's better for you to go ahead and get the Steam version, which is available for $33.19 today. But it is also available for $8 via the Keyshop. I don't use the historical low as I usually do for the Steam version because the last time it had a significant sale was about 5 years ago. Now if you're on the Xbox console, wait for a sale and get it for $9 using the Xbox Store. Absolute steal considering that price. Quantum Break is a game that tries to grasp at multiple straws all at once, but by the end of it all they're only partially able to bring in just a few. I will always commend these games as they bring something new and unique to the table. Despite all that, Quantum Break is still unfortunately a mix of substantial highs and lows. Quantum Break in my opinion gets a 6 out of 10. Above average, a serviceable game, but far from being a masterpiece. Not bad by any means, but its strong presentation and concepts will keep you going, but depending on who you are, it can easily bore you as the gameplay will leave you wanting. My name is Explicit Sage and I thank you for joining me for another review. Till next time, more content like this is on the way. Take it easy, y'all.